Hey BJJ Library lovers, I'm here with, if you don't know him, Sensei Fabio, if you know him, Fabinho Naco. Prazerzão tá aí, muito obrigado aí pelo conhecimento, pelas informações.
Obrigado você por ter escolhido me, é um prazer e uma honra.
We are here to pick up his brain a little bit, and the reason why I want to come personally and do this section with Sensei Fabio is because I'm interested in his story as well. There's some details that I don't know, and I think that you guys gonna love what he has to bring to you. First, Fabio, how long you been a samurai? How long you been in the sport? How did it start and all that? Briefly resume, so we can kind of go from there.
I've been training approximately 45 years. I started when I was just a little kid. I had a couple of classes from an old Hélio Gracie student, which was a Marine in Rio. He had a school in Leblon, yeah. Bernardo. And after that, I became a surfer. I didn't want to do anything. You know, I just wanted to surf. I lived so close to the ocean. Once I met Halls, I was about 14, 15 years old. That's when I started to take Jiu-Jitsu seriously. You know, Halls brought me into the Figueiredo Magalhães Academy, the Gracie Academy, the only Gracie Academy in Rio.
The one that became Carson's Academy?
The one that became Carson's Academy. It was when Halls was alive.
That was fun, yeah, because
it was up and
two
down.
stairs.
There was two floors, and Halls was on top, and Carson was on the bottom, and then they would change during the week. And then in '82, Halls had an accident and died, and you know, Rickson pretty much took us over to train with him, you know, for the rest of the and I got my black belt from him. And then
how long you were being training to get your black belt? Because people say it's 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, 12. How was it before?
Think about 1968, and I got my black belt in 1983. Wow. What do you think about that? That was 20 years about. It was 17 years? Yeah, around that. That's how long it took to get my black belt, 17 years. And then, you know, I've been a black belt for 31 years.
Who gave you the black belt?
Rickson, Carlos Gracie Jr. was there. It was the day that I fought Royce, and I beat him.
What do you mean?
And I fought Royce in the academy.
That was a funny
because Hélio Gracie wanted to see that. And I said, you know, he's my good friend. I don't have any against him, you know, but no, you have to fight Royce, you have to see who is best.
Because everybody knows.
And I beat him by a throw, like a little, you know, a little takedown, because I knew his game.
Before UFC, before everything.
You know, we were brown belts. Yeah. We were brown belts. I was probably 8 years older than Royce. You know, I think I am 8 years older than Royce. You know, I didn't want to fight him, but I had to, so, you know, and I beat him. That's okay, you know, I don't tell this to anyone because I don't really want, you know, Royce laughs, he laughs, you know.
That was how the Gracies used to give the belt, and you have to...
No, yeah, you know, you don't even talk about belts, are you kidding? You talk about belts, you're gone. So, you know, you just go train and then it comes, you know, and then
So you got your black belt in 83?
83.
So at that time, you already had decided, I'm gonna do this for living. I'm gonna.
No. I was actually a PE teacher, and I knew if I started teaching, my techniques of jiu-jitsu for championship were gonna go down. You know, because to be a competitor, you actually have to be. You know how it is. You're a 7-time world champion. You know. If you start teaching, you start losing. You know. The thing is, you have to be resting. You have to give as maximum what when you train to be able to actually win in the tournament. You start teaching too many classes, that's taking away the time that you should be training. So I didn't want to teach at all, but you know, at Hoylers, now Hoylers, before it was Rickson's, there was kids class, so they're like, oh, you know, Humaitá. He said, you want to teach the kids class? I said, sure. You know, do I have to? I mean, I'll do it, you know. So I started teaching the kids. That's how I started teaching, by starting to teach the kids class little by little. And then from then on, I started really liking to teach because I'm a PE teacher. I graduated on PE. I went to college, Gama Filho and all that for PE, but I didn't really want to do that, you know, teach people how to do exercise. So I stuck to Jiu-Jitsu, and since then, In now 2007, Helson gave me my red and black belt, which was an honor to get from him. I really appreciate it. And the family is, if anybody says anything bad about the family, I'm the first to go there and defend them.
Definitely, they're the pioneers. They are the reason why we're all here.
That's the reason.
I'm very pleased to come here at your academy and see that you have Master Helio and Master Carlos side
just
by
like you.
side. I just follow who does what's right. I'm just a good student.
No, it was an honor to me to have you come over
both,
here.
They have both of
Yes.
them. That is like something that most of the academy have the tendency to have one or the other, and you are here have both.
And I have both of my main teachers, which were Hickson and Halls and Helson. All three of my main teachers,
What is something that you remember about Carlos? Because you got close to them both, huh?
Carlos, he was an awesome person. You would get close to him and you can feel his awesome vibe of a person. He was an awesome person. He gave me my medal. I have a picture of him giving me a medal when I fought at the ABB. I fought Malibu. I fought a bunch of guys, Peixotinho. I lost and won. It was like you had to fight everybody. It was like a robbery. Winning or losing, you were still going to fight. So it was a great, and then you add up how many you lost, how many you won, and you would win or lose, but it was great because you would get like 5 or 6 fights, And he was the one that gave me my medal that day, and I got first place. So I was really pleased that I have that picture, which is a very rare picture. Not a whole lot of people have a picture with Carlos Gracie.
That's for sure.
That was one of the passages that I really remember. And him curing my friend, I told you about that, with the kidney stone.
That's incredible. I heard that he had
Carlos
some
Gracie
kind
was a curator. He would just cure people. If you go there with whatever you had, he'll come out with some tea or some concoction, give it to you, and you'll be healed of whatever he had. He was an awesome person, very knowledgeable, spiritual. He never had a rough word for you. He was always a nice person.
He was the peaceful one.
He was very peaceful.
And Master Helio, on the other hand,
Helio was, he was the one that took, the aggressiveness of Carlos and used it out, And he was on the ring a lot. He had, many challenges and challenge matches, and he was unbelievable. But don't think that Carlos didn't go out there and fight too. He was fighting a lot. They set up a ring in the middle of the street at Praça Nossa Senhora da Paz. Nobody knows this. They set up a ring in the middle of the street and said, "Who wants a broken arm? Come up here." And that was Carlos. Carlos, he was skinny, 130 pounds like this, and giant guys would come and boom, boom, arm bar the guys. They couldn't believe. That was the first. And then, Helio started training and they developed the self-defense together. That self-defense doesn't belong to judo. That was, Jiu-jitsu is very much like judo, the arm bars, the chokes and the throws and, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of things in Jiu-jitsu that's not allowed in judos. Foot locks and toe holds and knee bars and, Even some throws that are illegal in judo, in Jiu-jitsu, you can do, no problem.
Yeah. And everybody agreed that you were one of the pioneers of Jiu-Jitsu here in San Diego.
Yeah,
and there was one of the first academies that I visited, and that you give me some roof to train. And I would like to see how was the transition. How do you end up here? How you start the whole process? Because one way or the other, everybody that's teaching today, somehow they were your students.
Oh yeah, here in San Diego.
Yeah.
What happened was I found out Royce was in LA getting ready for the UFC.
93.
I was living in Oregon. I had an academy in the basement, no windows. It was like a cave, I didn't have money to rent, so I was building boats, fiberglass. I know about fiberglass, and it's the only thing that I can do of jiu-jitsu, So I was working on boats then and teaching a couple classes at night. And I pick up a black belt magazine and I'm looking and I'm like, "What? Royce is in LA." So I called him and he's like, "What are you doing in LA?" "Oh man," he goes, "Oh man, we're preparing for this big giant event that we're gonna make. You have to come down." I'm like, "What? I have to come down?" I said, "Yeah, I need somebody to train. I need somebody to teach class." So when you get here, I'll tell you what we're planning.
What's the mission?
What's the mission? I'm like, all right, I'm going. So I bought a van and I put all my crap in there. I got my wife. I said, we're going to LA. And she loved it because she likes San Diego. She grew up over here. So we're going to have a stage up in LA. And the plan was to open a franchise academy in Philadelphia with Steve Maxwell. You know, that was the plan. No San Diego, but we're going to be in LA for a little while. So Sherry was liking the beach, you know. So I'm in LA, and then we training with Royce. I'm back training. I was a little rusty. You know how it is getting back in, you know. So it was rough for a while. And then we made the UFC, and it was just, we had to put barricades at the door because people was just coming in droves after the first UFC. And then the second. And then I moved. When I moved...
Which year was that?
I moved on the way to LA to get on a plane to go to Philadelphia. On the way, Royce calls me from Philadelphia and said, dude, it snowed 36 inches of snow here. You're not going to like it here. I'm like, what? In Philadelphia falls snow? He goes, oh, it's cold. It's like below zero here. I'm like, okay, I'm not going. We're going to have to find another place to go. That's how I ended up here in San Diego because there was nobody here. Nelson Montero was in Encinitas. So there was nobody really here in San Diego. So that's when I came and I opened that academy. 3 days later, I had over 50 students. Because Rorion gave me his database from here, from, you know, Riverside, all this area. So about a week later, I had 50 students.
Who was your first generation of students that is still active today? That is still
you know, I have Dean Lister. I had Jocko Mielink. I had James Nielsen.
Riggs,
Higgs, Jeff Higgs.
Yeah.
Ryan, little small guy,
Ryan.
very tough, Border Patrol guy.
Yeah.
Very tough guys at the beginning. So those were my original first students. Craig, the bald guy, older guy.
Yeah.
Craig. John Acosta. I have over 50 guys that were the core. You know, they win every tournament. We had an unbelievable team. But you know, everybody grows. You know, they want to open their school, and I have to support them. You know, nowadays I go there, do a seminar for them. You know, I go to D over there in Miramesa, do a seminar for them. I have representatives in Iowa, Oregon, even Idaho. I have guys. So we spread it pretty good, you know, around the United States. But yeah, those were the original students. And nowadays, I don't have as much students that I had then because there's so many people in San Diego now with schools. Huh? There's like 40-some schools in San Diego.
But the good jiu-jitsu always gonna keep alive.
That's the thing. If you're doing a good product,
you are one of the
okay, you know,
the persons that we always have as a reference here. And
I really appreciate that.
It's always a humble experience coming here and hard to learn for the source, you know, because you saw everything, you were there since the beginning, have a different ideas. It's just awesome for all of us. Like to say, it's an honor to interview you, to share the mat with you, and count with a soldier here.
I'm honored that you're a very good friend of mine. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Mass, is it true you have a reputation of being this tough guy that don't go easy and don't give a break to who doesn't have a good attitude, who doesn't have an example as a student?
It's very true. I'm tough on the guys that need to learn, you know, that you don't have to be, I have to find the word, you know. Attitude, I think the word is attitude, you know, because there's people with good attitude and there's people with bad attitude. The guy with bad attitude is not going to last here in my school. You know what I mean? If he has bad attitude with the other guys, if he hurts other guys, if he's late, if he's dirty, if his fingernails are long, all that, if he has bad breath, you know, all that is, I'm going to talk to the guy face to face, and sometimes they take it the wrong way, like I'm trying to humiliate or something. You know, I've noticed that over the 22 years I've been teaching here. Sometimes guys are soft in that way that they can't be talked to. You know, you have to kind of sugarcoat things, and I'm not that way. I'm really like blunt sometimes. You know, I take to the face the guy, and sometimes they don't like. You know,
I would
And
say
then they call me tough and strict. And nowadays, the guys from the old times ago, they're thanking me for being that way, you know, with them, because now they're that way with their students and keeps the academy running smooth, you know. The people, they have to go my way when they come here. It's my way or the highway.
And they learn discipline.
They learn discipline. That's the whole idea of the situation, you know. You learn how to, here I'm going to teach you hygiene, I'm going to teach you how to eat, you know what I mean? I'm going to teach you self-defense, I'm going to teach you sport jiu-jitsu, wrestling. We sometimes we go bare knuckle, you know what I mean? But see, that takes common sense. There's a bunch of idiots out there that go 100% hard on their own friends. You need your friends to train, you know, so you can't hurt your friends. You know, that's why they think that I'm miserable, you know. And
I like the way it is.
I
Keep it that
appreciate
way.
Yeah.
And guys, check it out. BJJ Library, awesome interview, awesome position, and was a
Thank you
pleasure to
very
be
much.
here with Master Fabio.